Shut up and sit down.
And welcome to the Week 13 edition of the BlackSwarm podcast. Thank you for Rob Antonell. As always, got him just fired up off air. So, Rob, what'd you think of the game last Friday night?
Can we just move on to spreads now?
You did this bit last week. Come on, give me something.
Oh, I'd love for this to be different than last week, but it's not.
All right.
Hey, last week we played a team that sucked ass. This week we're playing another team that sucks ass. Would you like to review both?
Kinda.
Okay, last week we played a team that sucked. We won. This week we're going to be playing another team that sucks, but it's 2 hours away. Or I guess for you, it's only like an hour and a half, and they also suck.
All right. Quick recap of Canal Winchester then. Yeah, Rob kind of hit it on the head. It was what it was. Running clock. We put what had finished 37-7, and we kind of chose to end it at 37-7. Defense really good. Did some. I'm gonna dig into the X's and O's here. We did the double 3-tech, double wide 9, double mug from the inside backer look that Ed's always likes to do, except we actually blitzed out of it, whereas Ed's always drops out and does funky shit. So nice to see the defense still adding layers to it. Offense, it seemed a lot better than week 11. Maybe it still came out not listless, not lifeless, just like didn't have that extra gear because they knew they didn't need it. But execution a lot better than the McKinley Hangover game. So yeah, pretty happy with it. You were at least like up in the tailgate lot. Did you like watch any of the game?
Yeah, I watched majority of the first half, probably the entire first half. I watched us go down and score right before half after like 3 consecutive pass interferences. And then we made a field goal. So, I mean, we did what we needed to do there. But, I mean, besides that, I don't know if you want me to remember anything from that game because that's really the only thing that I remember from that game.
All right. So there's Rob's thoughts on it. I guess we can just keep it moving right along into film. All right. Just got a couple highlights from the game last Friday night. Here is the pass from Slaughter to Jacques Carter, I think, or Tolles. Can't remember which one. Yeah, to Carter. Nice little double post with the crosser coming underneath. I think this concept is supposed to open it up for the crosser, which it does pretty well, except that middle safety there in the cover 3 look kind of keeps flat feet. Obviously, Jock wins on the post. And, Slaughter, big game hunter. It's more of a peak read rather than like your first true read in this progression. But likes the matchup, likes the shot, takes it. That's your cue to add any thoughts there, Rob.
I mean, good catch by Carter. He's going to be wide open on this every time. No safety. And it's the safety actually does a good job of kind of reading it out. But, I mean, Slaughter underthrows it, gives the corner a chance to break it up.
Yeah. Yeah, hey, touchdown's a touchdown. Here, just got a couple of Lennox Lemon highlights, I believe. This one, nice little... I think this is a cover 3 fire zone type blitz we ran, with as much as blitz happy as we are. And basically that means he's manned up number 1 if he goes vertical, which he does, stays in his pocket. Makes the ball pretty uncatchable for the receiver and makes a play.
Yeah, good coverage, stays square throughout the first couple of yards, and then runs with the receiver after that. It's really tough to play a receiver head up like that, so good job.
All right, now this one, another blitz, but going straight cover 0. Honestly, not a bad... Alright, we're going to have to do this game now. Honestly, not a bad route against the blitz and the coverage, but just does a good job reading it, from depth, coming downhill when he sees the ball come out, makes a play.
Yeah, if everybody loves a 2-yard, out route comeback against cover zero.
Well, if that ball comes out on time, if the ball comes out now, you got a couple yard gain there, which obviously that's the game you're playing when you're on a cover zero, but QB's a little late to see it, I guess, so takes an extra step, and we see what happens. All right. Obviously, Rob doesn't have any more thoughts on that, so we can keep it moving right into some Teays Valley highlights.
I didn't know they had highlights.
Well, they have stuff that Huddle says is highlights. So just to recap from whoever they said it was.
Riggs.
Yeah, that one. Not a bad little, weird situation to call it. You're running a boot throwback screen on 4th and 11. I don't think anybody should really be buying you shouldn't be buying the play action fake on 4th and 11, but obviously these inside linebackers do.
Yeah, there's literally only one guy on this half of the field, and they held him.
So this made me think of, I think it was like years ago when I first started getting to like X's and O's and I'd send plays in the group chat and shit, and I drew up some kind of like throwbacky type play and had the backside receiver on a go route, and you said, no, put him on a crosser that'll chase the corner out. Well, this is a case in point of why you put him on a crosser rather than a go, because your one man on the field stays out there chasing that vertical route. And even if he just bailed off and covered his deep third, you still have 3 bigs out there forcing that cornerback to make a decision, right?
Yep, then you got a receiver trying to make a block in space, which is never never easy. Not that you really like linemen blocking out in space either, but they just need to get in the way.
Yeah.
All you have to do is not hold that guy, and chances are you get a touchdown out of this, but somehow he makes the play and the flag. 78 out there trying to look for work, but as we'll discuss later, he's not the star player on the squad.
Yeah. A straight quarterback run, not something they live out of, but definitely in their bag. They'll go to it as a nice little change up. Quack, 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 quack. Okay, design throwback. Got it.
Yeah, they brought 3 crosses over at the same point. Just like trying to draw everybody's attention. Hey, look at us, all 3 of us right here.
Yep. And I'm guessing boot throwbacks or something that kid's seen in practice all summer. Good on him reading it out, stays over top of it, and tough scene. Big running team. I think they're like 73% run, so you'll see a lot of that in these highlights. This one is my favorite. just because of how late that last flag comes in there. Watch from the... Yeah. Is that the back judge in the defensive backfield like that? Or is he the one that's behind the quarterback?
I think the back judge is the free safety, yeah.
Gotcha.
I think. I don't know.
Yeah. Two flags come in.
The zebra standing over there versus zebra standing over there.
Yeah. But I just love, you got the flag in, good to go. Back judge has to make you know what he thinks about it.
Yeah, I mean, they're supposed to throw a flag on everything they see as a flag. They're supposed to throw it. At least that way they can have a conversation about it or whatever. But
yeah, that's I mean, flags out on the dirt. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and 2 whole Mississippis for his flag to come out. That's oh God, I didn't see it. What happened? There's a flag down. I'll throw mine too. A little jet sweep action. Here, same thing. Getting is the penalty. Getting some press coverage. Quarterback throw a moon ball. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he throws moon balls. Yeah.
So not necessarily racking up the yardage, but 8 out of 12 on third down. Pretty efficient. That is not an insignificant stat line right there. They're either really good at converting wherever they are or extremely well at staying on schedule. So, something to note with this team. And now, just a quick little highlight reel from Pick Central of the running back. Obviously, a whole lot of open field speed there. No, you get tackled on the 2. Get another shot, kid. Go for it. Little buck sweep action. Tough scene when both guards are blocking one guy, but them's the breaks, kid. And it does seem like a favorite play of theirs is hand it to that kid and run through a motherfucker's face. Of note on this one, they'll run the hell out of power, but a big part of your play action game is making it look like your run actions. And this one actually had me fooled the first time I watched it, where, they get the kick out block from the guard or from the fullback, guard pulls. I thought this was power all the way, but running back, it's play action pass. Running back does a good job of taking on the guy coming free. But there's probably a reason why the highlights stopped before he got the pass off. Get off your phone.
I'm looking something up that's far more important than watching this kid run 8 yards at a time.
Be involved. Be engaged.
There's nothing for me to be involved with this.
Curmudgeon. All right. That's all we got for film.
Here, run it back. Let me tell you how boring this kid's 7-yard runs are. He likes to run straight downhill, and if somebody's in his way, he just tries to run him over. Good job.
Yeah, that's a boring 7-yard run right there.
I mean, it should have been a touchdown.
Like it is right here.
Okay, let's keep it moving. Come on. Let's see it.
All right, this bit's ran its course. We can get out of film room if you want.
I mean, sure. He's a fine player. Is he going to do any of this against us? No.
All right, there you have it, folks. We'll get out of film room and keep it moving on to our preview of Teays Valley, or whatever the hell their name is. Okay, so Teays Valley coming in with a record of 8-4, had a 28-10 win in week 2 over a 9-3 Bloom Carroll, whatever that is. They're Division 3, I guess, but otherwise all their wins are over pretty middling to not great teams. Had a loss week 1 to Grove City, a loss in week 7, 30-10 to Canal Winchester, lost to Nurk 35-7, and a loss to Pick Central 49-23. So, obviously, like Rob has alluded to, not the greatest team we've seen this year, but let's get into their offense.
Starting up front, they're not very good. They have 5 offensive linemen. 2 are seniors, 2 are sophomores. 6 foot 285, sophomore left tackle, not a very good player. 5'8", 230, sophomore left guard. Undersized. Then they got 6'1", 270, 6'1", 275, 6'4", 275. They're not great up front.
Yeah, but their names are a little better than what they show on tape. You got Ethan Wallace, Hayden Kellogg. I know that's not how you pronounce it, but that's how I'm going to go with. Tristan Graham, Jalen Ivey, Peyton Conrad. Pretty decent numbers, pretty decent names. You know, not the best, but we've seen, but definitely above average. I'd give it like 7.8 out of 10. A lot of potential there.
Specifically talking about the names, yes, a lot of potential. Talking about the performance, some of them might be some of the worst we've seen.
God, I can't wait for everyone to comment how negative you are through this entire thing.
You think people are listening to this? It's the 3rd straight running clock game in the playoffs. It is 25 degrees outside. Nobody is listening or watching. I don't even know why people are going. Tight end, 6'3", 220. They move him around a lot, but he's not very good.
Tight end room, you got Luke Burgett, Ethan Schwalbach, and Peter Graham. That, just the names, 10 out of 10. Absolutely love it. But we need to get a little more hard-hitting numbers there. You got 32, 16, and 34. That's, linebacker / power running back numbers. I need some numbers in the 40s or in the 80s there for me to make this a true masterclass tight end room. So give me 8.3 out of 10.
No, their numbers are appropriate.
Keep her moving.
Receivers. One is 6'2", 175 senior. One is 5'10", 165. Not much to talk about either way.
Yeah, not really much going with the names of the numbers either, but 4 and 11, not bad. Not bad for skill guys.
Quarterback, 6'5", 190 junior. He can run a little. They move him around. He's really not a great runner, but they will use him to run a little bit. He can throw adequately. You saw him throw a couple moon passes there on film. He can get the ball downfield, but it's not the prettiest thing you're ever going to see.
Yeah, Brady Farmer, 13, great QB number. I would hazard to guess what his family did in a past life when surnames were actually invented. Probably
physics.
Definitely physics. Yeah, maybe witchcraft. And last but not least, running backs.
Running back, they use a couple main guys. A sophomore, 5'10", 200. Runs downhill. We saw him on film. Seems like a decent running back. He's only a sophomore. He's got the size for it. He's not a breakaway guy, but, likes to keep it between the tackles. Are they going to be able to open up holes for him against our defense? Probably not. Is he going to be able to run over our guys like he's used to? Probably not.
Yeah, but an absolutely incredible name to match the what we saw on tape. Carson Payne, that 10 out of 10 name for like a big downhill type running back. Absolute stud name right there, but I need that number in the 30s, kid. 23 just ain't cutting it. That's a backup running back number no matter which way you slice it.
Yeah, that's fine. Um, Going on to the defense. Noteworthy that they do have a couple of players that go both ways. Defensive line 6'2", 230, 6'1", 270, 6'3", 245, 6'4", 220. So not horrible on paper. Unfortunately, none of them shine on the field. They're big guys, 6'1", 270. He's kind of good at eating up blocks, but that's really what he does is just eat up blocks. The other guys don't really make a name for themselves when they're out there.
Speaking of names, obviously I am a little whore for alliteration, so Tyler Teets caught my attention right away. And you got Tristan Graham, Gideon Dixon, just any kind of like double, just sounds similar. I like it. 88 as a starter on defensive line is tough, but we will power through that. But my boy Skylar Morgan, that is your mom's hairstylist. That is no way a starting defensive tackle on a high school football field. He is doing Karen's hair at the salon.
Yeah, well, I mean, give it a year, maybe. He's only a junior. Still have hope.
Oh boy.
Linebackers, senior, sophomore, 6'1", 195, 5'10", 205, 6'1", 200. Sam is the most notable one. Likes to play in space. But again, these guys are not really making themselves known out there. Not making a lot of plays, not blowing a lot of things up.
Yeah, solid linebacking core names: Tyler Matthews, Ethan Schwalbach, Peter Graham. Just real like lunch pail type, go to work type names right there. Unfortunately, 3, 16, and 34. Those numbers just ain't cutting it. We got to get some more. Like I need some 40s or some 50s in there. We gotta stop it with our inside the box defenders having skill guy numbers because it is getting irritating, especially a team like this where they don't really have the talent to, back it up or justify those types of numbers. Ethan Schwalbach, he needs to be wearing like number 54 yesterday.
At some point, you're going to have to realize that linebackers don't wear numbers in the 50s anymore. And they just don't. That is reserved for offensive linemen.
I know.
It's an ineligible number.
Listen, I know they don't wear them, but they need to. Like it just doesn't look right. Like you're taking an old classic house and renovating it and putting linoleum over the hardwood. You're putting the white and gray paint over all these beautiful different colors. You're ruining the classics. And sometimes change is not a good thing. Keep the classics the classics.
First off, those old hardwood floors are ugly. Right? Every now and then you'll find one decent 4-inch plank hardwood flooring. But you know what? Every time you see that meme online, they're like, "Oh, I can't believe you put linoleum over this." Like, yeah, I get it. Linoleum nowadays sucks. Back in the 80s, 70s, like it was probably okay. But those 1.5-inch planks that they're covering with linoleum they're ugly. They don't look good, and then you try to refinish them, and it doesn't look good. I'm sorry. I like hardwood floors, but what I don't like are a lot of these old hardwood floors. Rip up that linoleum and then throw down vinyl plank on top of the hardwood floors. And then while you're at it, color the walls gray and put white crown molding around it because that's what it should be.
Who are you?
Somebody that understands resale value.
Oh my
character is for the niche.
All right, well, I'm talking about I'm not talking about resale value right now. We're talking about character, all right? And I need my linebackers to have character. I don't need resale value from my Mike. I need character from my Will linebacker who needs to come down and plug the hole on ISO 35 times a game. All right? Listen.
Yeah, but he's not doing that.
Yeah, he is.
Who is Peter Graham? Peter Graham is not filling 35 times in a game. He's not. He is turning around and trying to figure out how to drop into coverage and tell his coach he thought it was pass.
And we're not talking about Peter Graham. We're talking about linebackers in general. We've taken.
I'm just saying, linebackers don't do that anymore, Hank. It's five wide, spread them out. It's not run first anymore. Just assume. We're starting to finally come back to that because the NFL and college got way too pass happy to the point where teams are only defending the pass, and now it's going back to the run. And they're like, oh, should we stop allowing teams to run too high safeties because it's too good of a defense? It's like, no, you just got to start running the ball again. I get it, but like linebackers don't. Linebackers do not come downhill and fill every play anymore. They just don't. You're talking about your dad's football. And, you might be talking about your son's football, but that's not our football.
All right. High school football has and always will be a run-first game. Yes,
It should be. It should be. The number one ranked team in the country right now, Cincinnati Anderson, can't run the ball if you paid them.
Yeah, high school football overall is a run-first game because you don't have quarterbacks that can drop back and throw the ball 50 times. So that's why the wing tee is still relevant. Perry might be just yucking it up out there, still trying to run it, but you have teams in like the UP and running the wing tee and the power tee to state championships. You have whatever that one super high-powered, always perennially top 10 nationally ranked team out in Vegas or California or something, Mater D, I want to say, running the fucking veer to state and national championships. You could not find consistent high school quarterback play to just drop back and pass it 50 times. Yes.
I'm not saying you should. I'm saying you aren't finding that lunch pail, neck roll linebacker that's just coming downhill with his hair on fire anymore. They don't make those kids. Kids are not raised to do that anymore.
Dorian Pringle says hello.
He's a very good player.
Yeah.
National Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Very much a one-off.
Yeah, and so are pass-first offenses in high school. Yeah, I know they're moving towards the spread. Yes, the RPO game is becoming a lot more involved, but who's not really affected by RPOs? Inside linebackers. Inside linebackers, you can take one straight out of 1957, maybe have him hit the weight room a little bit because he's probably going to be a bit undersized for today's game, but you could take that play style and it will still be applicable in most defenses and in the average high school game today.
Yeah, until he's got to cover the three up the seam.
Well, if you're asking him
Devontae Smith says hello.
Listen, if I'm playing Devontae Smith in high school, then all right, yeah, we might change up the style a little bit. We might have a bit of a mismatch there, but Ohio State rode it to a national championship runner-up trophy in 2020 with who was Tough. What was the kid's
Borland.
Tough Borland? Yeah,
him and Eichenberg trying to guard Devontae Smith up the seam, just one-on-one, it doesn't work. Those are the worst, dumbest defensive. Point is, you're not going to have linebackers in the 50s, showing up with a lunch pail. They just don't make those kids anymore, Hank. Everybody's babied, and they're told they're the best, and they're told they have to be a skill player in order to be good at football, and no one's just raising tough linebackers anymore.
All right, well, someone needs to start leading that movement, and you know what? I'm going to be right out in front carrying that flag, okay?
Make linebackers play downhill again?
Yeah.
Yeah,
make linebackers play downhill again.
I'm not saying they shouldn't be, right? They should be. They aren't.
Make linebackers play downhill again. I was going to say, I just make my own linebackers and teach them that way, but there's no way my genetics are producing anything that'll be an effective downhill linebacker. At best, they're going to be like Midge was in high school, and we're getting a scat back out of the backfield or a shifty and speedy slot receiver type deal.
Yeah, that's the first thing I think of when I think of you and your offspring is shifty slot receiver guy.
I'm going back to Midge in high school, not me. All right, I spent my entire childhood with my hand in the dirt because I was fat, and my mom gave me free range to the pantry, and that's what led to being fat. And you don't know what a calorie is when you're 8 years old. You just know Twinkies taste good, all right? Point being, the Midge genetics are in there. He he likes to brag he was the fastest kid on his team at one point, and they like tested that on the field. Like the grass hadn't been cut in 2 weeks, and he was wearing socks. And I understand saying that out loud now. I never really thought about it, but that's the equivalent of the uphill both ways, 85 degrees in a snowstorm school. Walk to school, but Midge was a fucking athlete, all right? And those genes are in there somewhere. Did they, see the light of day for my ass? Absolutely not. But I still have hope, goddammit.
Okay, so you're not going to produce downhill linebackers.
Correct. But I'm still leading the charge for the movement.
Well, let's move on to their secondary where maybe your kids can fit in someday.
All right.
Then again, chances are if you popped out a kid in the next couple months, they could probably just play for this team now.
Jesus Christ.
Both their safeties are seniors, 5'9", 165, 5'9", 155. Corners, junior, sophomore, 5'10", 165, 5'8", 145. Number 11, their junior corner, the best player in the secondary. Really the only one that has a positive scouting report just overall.
Yeah, also not a kid over 165. Both safeties are 5'9", your corners 5'10", and 5'8". The 5'8", 145 is not something you would expect to see in the third round of the Division II high school football playoffs, but hey, here we are. Weston Gray sounds like he's going to be, a financial consultant at some point in his life.
This team screams like Perry and Jackson had an offspring team.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of Tuslaw sprinkled in there too.
Yeah.
There's
one or two, yeah.
Yeah. It's like you combine Perry and Jackson into some kind of fucked up hot fudge sundae and then sprinkled it with Tuslaw. But my boy Griffin...
Though both Perry and Jackson would be favored against this team individually.
Yeah, probably. This might be a team that Perry would hold to a shutout, and I would just have to fade them every week in spreads. But my boy Griffin Gray, I don't know if the safeties are brothers or what's going on there, but that's a tough name. I love alliteration, but you have to have a tough note to it. Like Griffin Gray, he's getting some you're getting made fun of in a very Harry Potter specific way coming up through school. And then there's Kevin McDowell. I don't know. There's something about a Mick in my secondary that I just don't like. And Kevin is he has wedgie burns. We'll just, shoot back to the conversation last week about swirlies and whatnot. And then Brandon Travis is just the most gray man, nothing special either way out there at the other corner. So tough look name-wise from the secondary room.
Correct.
So quick little overall look at both offense and defense. They like to run the ball. Like I said in film, they're 73% run. They trot out a lot of 21 personnel, lots of tight ends, lots of fullback looks. They can go to the spread if they need to, but it's not something they want to live out of. Defensively, they are a 4-down, a 4-2-5, cover 4, cover 3 type team. They've played a teenth of man, and they've blitzed only slightly more than that. So look for a lot of kind of base 4-2-5 looks from them, and might be tough sledding for them on either side of the ball all night.
Yeah, hopefully they come out and they try to throw something weird at us because they're not St. Ed's. They're not going to just line up and do the base defense against us. So I don't know. Maybe they'll throw something at the wall and see what sticks. But if they plan on just lining up across from us, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, at least on their offensive side of the ball, they have a little bit of variety there that gives me a little bit of hope that see something a little different. They had they run a lot of inside zone, power counter, involve the QB a little bit. It's not his bread and butter, but I think they like it as a change-up to just for that a little bit of misdirection element and get the numbers game back in their favor. You saw the Bucs sweep, and then they had that throwback screen, which is a pretty neat little concept. You don't see that often in high school. So I have some faith that they can at least try and throw a little razzle-dazzle on offense. Defensively, they might just have to take like the Mansfield or whoever the hell else route of just throwing out absolute junk and hoping that we just have spent a quarter and a half figuring it out before we can even get the running clock going. But yeah, to your point, if they try and just line up and do what they do, it's going to be a long night for them.
Yeah, I mean, as negative as I have seemed over this entire thing, it's not this team specific. From a talent perspective, they're probably very similar to the last two teams we just played. Unfortunately, we're at a point where we're so good and the region we're in is just so godly bad.
I hope anybody that's like listening to this and not watching it could like hear your eye roll on that one.
I'm sorry. I hate that our region is set up the way that it is. I hate that it's 3 teams from Stark County and then 20 teams from Columbus and somehow no one in between.
Yeah, very odd.
At least if we were playing teams like, and I understand like some of these teams are in our region, we don't get paired up with them very much. But at least if we were playing Perry, Green, Hoover, Wadsworth, some of the teams from around here, we wouldn't have to drive so freaking far. But at least you'd have like that recognition of the team you're playing. Nobody knows who Teays Valley is. They're from south of Columbus. We just have to drive really far to go win a blowout game. And it's just, I hate that I dislike how the whole format is. It's week 13 and we're still playing teams that are horrible. It's unfortunate. I don't want to make it sound like I'm complaining that Massillon is too good. I'm glad that we're in the position, but people are upset with me for not being excited for this game, and I don't understand how I possibly could be excited for this game. Running clock in the playoffs, another running clock in the playoffs. We're projected to win this game with a running clock in the playoffs. I can't get excited for that.
It's not. So for me, it's not so much getting excited for this game in particular. I like Massillon football. I'm going to take any and every opportunity I get to watch Massillon football, and I'm excited for that in and of itself. Is this going to be a blowout win? Probably. At this point in the playoffs, is that really anybody's fault that we're projected running clock win? Nobody but the teams we're playing, I guess. I mean, it sucks that we're paired up with, like you said, a handful of Stark County teams and then a handful of Columbus teams. Really weird region.
It's not a handful. It's like a couple, a sprinkle of Stark County teams and the Columbus entire region.
I basically ignored all of week 1 because that's just a handout gimme at this point. We've talked that one to death. But, at this point in the playoffs, with as good as we are, you expect like a high 20s type point spread. But, I mean, for going into what used to be week 2 in the playoffs, you expect at least some kind of game. But it's just a lack of talent overall this year, I guess. I mean, you see we're down from what we are last year, obviously, but we're still the projected favorites to win the state championship again, and I think a lot of that speaks to everybody else being a little more down too, and that's kind of what we've seen as well, right? So it's just kind of how the cards fell this year, and I get the annoyance with it, but hey, all Like I said, I'll take Massillon football where I can get it, and I'm not necessarily going to be mad at anybody that we have to drive a little farther to watch Massillon beat the brakes off this team.
I just can't get excited for it. There's no explanation that's gonna make me excited for it.
Oh,
It's not happening.
I'm not trying to argue you. I know you're a lost cause as far as this goes. I just making content, baby, making content.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, right? It's no one's fault. Um, I think OHSA intentionally wants to keep us split up from Hoban. So there's no way we're ever going to be in the Northeast region.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, that's more or
they
less.
don't want us with Avon. They don't want us with Hoban. I mean, we are like the southernmost D2 school from the Northeast. Like I get it, but it sucks. I hate playing teams that we don't know. I'd rather go beat a team from around here by 40 than some team that we're never going to see again by 40. And we wouldn't have to drive 2 hours to do it.
Yeah, I guess at that point, it's we need to tell the Stark County teams to be like slightly worse because we're generally rated, higher in the playoffs. So we're going to be playing the lower seeds. So we need like Perry and Hoover and all of them to, lose maybe one more game or two in the regular season to sure up those 15, 12, 8 spots in the playoff round so we can actually play them sooner.
Yeah, I don't know where Perry was, but Perry was on the bottom half.
Yeah, they fell in one of the weird ones to where if we would have played them, it would have been like not until the regional championship.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure they had away games.
Yeah.
The whole playoffs.
Yeah, so they were the 9 seed. Let's see here.
They were 9. Yeah. So, I mean, we were the 3 seed. So I mean, like what traditionally we would be playing.
What, the 3 seed?
Yeah, I mean, like by this point in the playoffs, we would be playing who?
The
1.
Yeah. Let's see. Teays Valley is the 7 seed, so I mean, it would still fall as it has.
Well, not under an 18 format, it wouldn't. 7 would have lost by now.
An 18, yeah. That's okay. Yeah,
It would have been the top 4 teams in the region, and we'd be playing number 2.
Got it.
Who actually already lost?
Yeah, lost their week 1 matchup. So that's tough scene, kid. But yeah. Maybe there is a solution out there. I don't know. I'm not paid for that shit, so I'm not going to waste any brain power trying to think of it.
Yeah, the solution is if it wasn't Teays Valley, we'd probably be playing in Mansfield. But since Teays Valley is south of Columbus, they decided to make it Zanesville to make it a little bit more even, I guess.
Yeah.
But I can get to Mansfield in under an hour from my house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no big deal, right? I can get to Mansfield just as quick as I can get to Massillon. Zanesville, 2.5 hours.
Yeah, that's well, I mean, shit, for me, that's south of Columbus. That's damn near Dayton. But yeah, Zanesville a little bit closer, so I guess you have a little more room to bitch, but just Rob's crusade against driving to go watch Massillon games continues.
Okay. It'd be a different story if it's a good game, but this is 5 hours of driving for a bad game. Man, oh gee golly, am I ready to go?
Hey, it's Massillon football, baby.
No, it's not. It's going to be 2 quarters of maybe us either going, 50% and then pulling our starters, or throwing so much weird shit on tape that everybody else has to worry about it. It is not going to be an actual Massillon football game.
Is Massillon playing on Friday night?
I made some of them.
Is it a football game?
That part I'd probably argue more than if Masson's playing or not.
Massing football, baby. Now we're just talking in circles, and I'm just doing this for the bit, so we'll move it right along to spreads and then get out of here, huh?
Yes, please. I got more work to do. We got McKinley at Mentor. Mentor 14.5.
Menor.
Fitch. Now, these are all neutral site games, but Fitch at Walsh. Walsh 20.5.
Holy shit. Walsh good. Fitch good for them making it this far. Fitch seems scrappy enough to keep it within 20.5, but I like Walsh straight up, so give me Fitch.
Nordonia playing Hoban. Hoban 16.5.
Lot of points to give for a team that only beat Lake by 7, so give me Nordonia.
Wadsworth, Avon. Avon 13.5.
Avon good. Wadsworth not as good. Give me Avon.
Ashland, Big Walnut. Walnut 5.5.
Big Walnut.
Dover, Steubenville. They played each other week 5, and Steubenville beat the Tornadoes off of Dover. Steubenville favored now by 18.5.
Beat the Tornadoes off of them?
Yeah, dusted them off, spun them around.
I know you didn't like set up those puns. How did you get to Tornadoes first off?
They're the Dover Tornadoes.
Are they?
It'd be weird if they weren't. It'd make my explanation a lot worse.
I can't tell if that's a bit at this point or not, but we'll go with the River Rats.
Lake Catholic at Glenville. Glenville 6.5.
Give me Glenville.
Streetsboro, Perry. Perry 1.5.
It's not our Perry because our Perry lost last week.
Correct.
Let's go with the underdogs and not Perry.
Garraway, South Range. South Range 12.5.
Let's go with the general descriptor of a map, so South Range.
I mean, Garraway's also kind of a descriptor, just not really on a map. Kind of on a map.
What?
You know, this way, Garraway.
East? I thought you said West.
Yeah. Yeah, this way, that way, Garraway. Manchester, Poland Seminary. Poland Seminary 4.5.
Poland Seminary, as in like where you go to be a priest?
In Europe, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, these regions are getting larger and larger, I swear.
Yeah, that's Poland too. That's tough. Poland for most of the 20th century got to be like the rope in a big tug of war game between most of the major powers. So I think they have a point to prove, and they have God on their side being in the seminary. So give me Poland.
Yeah, I mean, Poland's favored by 4.5, 45. 45 is a good year for Poland. They cover Ohio State. Ohio State 28.5 point favorites at Northwestern.
Ew. At Northwestern?
Yep.
Oh, that's going to be just the ugliest game you ever did see. Give me Northwestern to cover. I mean, it's like not going to be in doubt, but Northwestern covers because it's just a mud fight.
Number 23, Clemson at number 18, Pittsburgh. Clemson by 9.5.
Golly. College football's fun this year. All the parity. Because
It is, yeah.
Clemson 9.5. I know they've been like had an up and down season. Pittsburgh's been like the steady Eddie type. Give me Pitt.
Number 5, Texas is at Arkansas. Arkansas likes to play spoiler, but since they also like to get spoiled, they're unranked. Texas is favored by 13 and a half.
Texas really hasn't beaten anybody. Arkansas is tough, so give me Arkansas.
Number 1, Oregon at Wisconsin. Oregon 14 and a half.
That seems like a lot of, or excuse me, that seems like not a lot of points for Wisconsin being a bit of a fraud as far as how good people think they look. So give me Oregon in a rout.
Yep, I think the only reason the fans stay to the fourth quarter is to watch jump around. Oregon covers.
One of the better college traditions around.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, you got to wait until the fourth quarter to do it. Number 7, Tennessee at number 3, Georgia. Carson Beck and the eyes that are wider than the Mississippi are favored by 9.5 against Tennessee.
God, 9.5. I don't like that line. I don't like the fact that they have Sid the Sloth back there playing quarterback. So give me Tennessee in an outright win.
Tennessee outright win at Georgia, which means Carson Beck is benched, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, and then all we have left is the Maslin spread.
So I know we were talking about it earlier, a little bit off air, and I looked it up on Joe Idol, not for the show because I try and go into this thing blind, and I was talking about it with somebody else. Joe Idol had it minus 33, and you said it was significantly higher than that.
No, I told you Drew Pastor had us higher than that.
Drew Pastor. Joe Idol. Drew Pastor. Where am I?
Yeah, for whatever reason, every week when I need to look up the spreads or the computer rankings or whatever, I always type in Idol, and I can never find it because that's not the right one. It's Pastor's top 50 that has it on there.
Yeah.
So do you want the nerd spread or do you want the spread we normally go by?
Give me both after I go with Maslin minus 43.
So the actual spread that we're picking against is 34 and a half.
Damn.
The computer nerds have us at 42.
Okay, I'll take that small dub. So what the actual ones we're picking with, you said minus what now?
34 and a half.
34 and a half.
7 touchdown favorites. Week 13.
I like us winning by 35, so give me Maslin on that one. So, any other angry rants you want to go on tonight before we hop on out of here?
No, I don't have any angry rants to begin with.
All right. One last little point I thought of right before we get out is the fact that this Teays Valley, they're the Vikings, and they just use a recolored Minnesota Vikings logo as their logo. Always bad vibes in high school when a team has to recycle an NFL logo, so that is kind of what pushed me over the edge of that minus 34 and a half. So, yeah, not great vibes. Good vibes over here, especially from Rob over yonder. So, with that, go Tigers.
Teays Valley, a bigger school than Maslin.
Oh, yeah, you were looking up the enrollment numbers. So let's tell me about that real quick. Like, why were you looking them up and what now?
Because our friend that likes to post, game previews and scouting reports of the teams that we play and everything. I think they said that they have 4,500 kids at their high school, which I immediately said, no, the fuck they don't.
Yeah, that's a lot for the team we're playing.
I was like, there's no way they have 4,500 kids at their school. And then it said something that they have like 1,400 kids at their TV school, which I'm like, or maybe 4,500 was the district, and then Teays Valley's 14. Because there is 4 schools in this district.
Okay.
So maybe that's what it was. Maybe Teays Valley was 1,400 out of 4,500. That would make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Either way, they're bigger than us.
Yeah.
Their head coach is Brian Cross, former McKinley coach.
I saw he got inducted into the High School Football Hall of Fame recently, I believe.
Yeah. I don't know when, but that was noted also. Yeah.
So, I mean, he's got a little bit of familiarity with Massillon. You know, if he's still got any sort of McKinley blood in him, he might have a little more juice coming into this week, but gonna be tough. Gonna be a tough one for him on Friday night. So, with that, we'll hop on out of here. Go Tigers. Beat the Vikings.
Go Tigers.